Okay. Let me come out of here. Hey, Jason. Hey, Myers. Hey, I'm trying to get a hold of Zeke. Sorry, but I had to start this now because we're at the cursed cemetery. Been having connection issues. Zeke don't start until 9:30. I just sent him a message telling him to come in and get up so we can get this rolling before I lose connection again. It's been all kinds of crazy today. Ever since the evil tunnel and now the cursed cemetery. Yeah, normally get connection here, but today, let me tell you what. So I sent him a text. I tried calling, and I might pop out of here. Please don't go anywhere. I'm trying to hurry and let him know that I finally made it here. And hey, Sage, because the Shauna crazy girl's having bad internet, and then Yo Baby isn't feeling too good. And she had doctors today. So give me a moment. I'm getting a hold of Zeke right now to let him know I finally made it, got the live going. So just please bear with us because I'm live at location still. And I'll be right back. Get a hold of Zeke. Hey, Zeke, it's me. I finally got in. Uh, all right, come on, Zeke. Come on, Zeke. Get your message. Hurry up. Get your message, Zeke. Get your message. Get your message. I sent him a text and I left him a voicemail. I had him on the phone but lost service. And I got my portable internet going. Thanks to, I don't know, I can't even. Oh, here we go. Mr. Bourne. Oh, there's Zeke. There's Zeke. He got the message. He got the message. All right, Zeke got the message. Zeke got the message. All right. Whew. Oh my gosh, this was a task. Holy crap.
Well, you got it all worked out.
Yeah, and that's what matters is I've already got the biggest part done because if anything happens now, you're up there. So that's good. That's
I can
good. Yep.
redneck.
And so if you lose us, here's Vickie. If you want to say hi to Vickie.
Hey, Vickie, I miss you.
I missed you too, honey. I can't wait for you to get here in August.
I know. That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be epic.
We're at Zeke's favorite cemetery.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I see that, man. I love that.
Man, I tell you, it's been a hectic, crazy day. Oh my
It's
gosh.
definitely been wild. Hi, everybody in chat.
All right. And I wonder, I'm going to try now, see if it will let me. I've been trying to upload those images you sent me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try against will. May not
Breaking up.
but if you lose me, yeah, crap. If you lose me, when you leave and drop out, it'll be okay. It won't be nothing there. I'm not gonna be I'm gonna have to upload those images, I guess. I'll go live tomorrow night and show your book cover images.
Okay. That'll work.
Because all it's doing is buffering. Well, not buffering. It's right there. Well, did it? There it goes. There it goes. Let's see it'll work. Show. Come on. I clicked on it.
Yep, that's it.
Hide. Okay, there's one. All right, let's push our luck and try and get that other one up here for you. Because the other one is my favorite.
Yeah. Tetramet story.
Yes. I like the Demon Slayer and I love the artwork and the imagery, but I don't know. I just, this next one, everyone, I love it. It's my favorite art.
Yep, that's kind of how the Tetramet looks in the stories. He's a huge entity in the Theo stories, in the Theo books.
Here we go.
Yep, there he is.
I love that one. That's my favorite.
That's him.
I guess because it's more sinister and evil and
Yeah.
so if you obey, because they can all pop on anytime they want without me doing it, because they got access, because there's StreamYard gives 3 people. It's her, the Shauna, and Vickie, but Vickie's here with me. So, but if those other 2 are able to get on, they can help. Like if you want those shown throughout the night and I can't do it,
Yeah.
they would be able to. We got 17 comments. There was 7 people. Hi, Cece. Hi, Pat. I'm not. I don't want to disrespect you by not saying your name right. I'm gonna call you Mr. P. Bud Files Myers. I think I'm froze. Maybe.
No, you're still here.
Okay.
You're here.
Here at 9:30 or whenever he wants to start, but most people know it's 9:30 is when people start rolling in.
Yep.
So for right now, it's just kind of a free for all. I had to get him in here for you all while I could. If you all knew the struggle we go through sometimes
To get this stuff to work, man.
Oh yeah, and I've never had this much connection issue here at the Cursed Cemetery, especially using my portable internet.
I know it worked well when we went out there. All that stuff worked like a charm.
Yeah, and it's not a hotspot. It's an actual portable internet. So, it's some strong juju going on when it messes with that. And when the showtime starts in 14 minutes. Oh man, I'm almost scared to move from this spot. That's okay. I got 51%. And yeah, right. Stay still. Don't move. Need me to be quiet?
Have y'all picked up on
if I'm too loud, let me know. Yeah, she's been getting a lot of interaction. He asked if we've been getting anything. I said, yeah, you've been getting a lot of interaction. Well, a backstory of this area that you're in now. You watched the cursed, the curse of the winter weather or something like that video. I was here 5 years ago on my old channel, and it was recorded. At the end of it, you'll see me getting up, walking into the darkness, because I heard a noise. Well, that noise I heard from once it was uploaded, people watched it. They saw a little flash, and what I heard was a ringer. Back in the old days, they would tie a string around down through there. Yeah, the dead ringer. Well, that's what I heard, and people saw the shimmering of a little bell moving back and forth, and that was right there in that area. That's probably that pole. The pole's what the bell used to be on. So, yeah. 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 Yeah, that's what I had that experience. It's the same, but he doesn't realize that that's different times now. That's no longer there. That pole with the bell on it's no longer there. So he's trying to let you know he was buried alive. Yeah. And see, she didn't know none of this until I just now said it.
Yeah, man, that place is such a hot spot.
Yeah. And it's like, I just told him, you didn't know that. I just now told you, and yeah. That's cool. Cool. Sure, you want, yeah, I'm sure you'd love that. You can get mine out and use it too if you want.
What she wanted to do?
She's going to let you listen to her EVP.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the moon. Beautiful.
It's like 6 minutes long, though. Are y'all wanting to hear it or not?
Well, he don't officially start his live for another 10 minutes.
Okay, good deal.
Hey, Keeping Appalachia. Zeke starts his show in 10 minutes, but...
Well, then how are you telling people hi? Are you still live?
We went live while we could. That way, if we lose it, he's already up there and going, and he can keep it going.
Okay.
We're being proactive, Vickie.
Yeah.
Proactive.
And
awesome.
I showed people the pictures he wanted to show, and I'll show them again later if I can.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm going to go back and watch you after I get done tonight, Zeke.
Okay.
All right. So this is six minutes, a little bit over 6 minutes long.
Let's see it.
And she was over at that building there.
Yep.
And it guided her over there.
Okay.
So I have a device here. If you touch it, it'll light up. Can you light it up for me? Can you touch it? If you try real hard, you can do it. Okay. Go back. Where do you want me to go back to? Can you tell me where you want me to go back to again? Outside. Okay. Are you outside? Would you prefer me to be outside? Yes. Okay. Okay. Tell me which way to go. I'm sorry that you're dead. Which way do you want to go? Straight? Say it again, please. Which way do you want me to go? Straight? To the side? You want me to go right or left? Up? Yelling? A round pole? Is that what you're telling me? To the tree? Which tree? This tree? That tree. Other way? Do you want me to go straight, right, or left? You want me to go back to the building?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I heard him tell him guiding you which way to go.
Yeah, there's more. That's only 3 minutes, 57 seconds.
Yep, I could hear him
There's
telling
still
you
3
left.
more minutes.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, hold on. Here's the rest of it. You're absolutely fine. I went into the, huh?
He asked if we've been getting anything. I said, yeah, you've been getting a lot of interaction.
Yeah, and I was in the building, and it told me to go back outside. It wanted me to come out here, and it was telling me to find its grave. So that's what I was looking for.
Well, a backstory of this area that you're in now, you lost the curse of the curse of the winter weather.
Just the rest of it, I've already cut the necro off. Okay. Now what, Zeke? What were you saying?
Go ahead, I'm gonna get a
Oh,
close
I
up.
was saying I could hear him giving you the direction, saying straight and left.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
clear.
And then, like, when I was going between the trees,
I was like, this one. And then I was like, okay, how about this one over here? And he's like, go forward. I was like, okay.
Hurry
So-
up.
I know. It was like, okay, I'm not going fast enough for you, buddy.
Dragging your feet, Vickie. Come on.
I know. So it was the tree on the right, though. But I had, I think there was another spirit that was trying to get me to come left. And he was like, no, she needs to go forward, kind of thing. So, because the one that was saying left wasn't the same voice as the other one that kept telling me go straight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
This is the new
there
one.
it is.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Did they
see
play
that.
with the cat balls this time?
Well, we ain't got the cat balls out. We were over on the other side where Dustin was last time. I've got my little periscope.
Uh-huh.
Dustin had his music box going. Now he's playing with lights.
I was showing her the difference between the new green flashlight and the old green one that I used at Octagon.
I got a
Dustin,
Yeah.
you need to contact whoever made that flashlight and see if they will hire you as a spokesperson for it.
Yeah, right. I need to because
Dustin tells everybody about that flashlight. I've got mine on order, so
well, right there you can see I'm shining it on the ground at the camera, and face it over this way.
Yeah.
Okay, you see that green light right there?
oh yeah, man, it's a fantastic
Right.
light.
that's 60 feet at least.
If
Yeah.
not more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now here's the old one. The old one's on.
So it's like a 20, 25 feet range, where that one's like, I know it's at
And-
least 60 feet.
And you can turn it to broaden it and
Yeah.
make it.
I got some off Amazon, and they're mini, and they do that, and they're really nice.
Go the same like that. I'll
Uh-huh.
have to give me some of them.
And it's strobe lights.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't like the strobe light, though.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like strobe light either.
I don't do well with strobe
But
light.
this you can change the dimness and brightness. So if you,
Yeah.
but I like it because it's so long range, easy to hang on to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I put my little Mr. Fog thing around it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Myers. So, Zeke, what do you got going on tonight?
We're going to continue our study on demons tonight.
Awesome.
Kind of recap last week a little bit and finishing the study, and then make a few announcements. I'll be going to New Orleans this weekend with Bethany and my oldest daughter.
Oh, yay! Where are y'all headed to?
We're staying in the La Pavilion Hotel, which is like one of the most haunted hotels in New Orleans. There's been recorded of over 100 spirits seen in that place.
You know I'm awful short. I bet I could fit into a luggage. I'm just saying. I might not be able to get out of it once I'm in it, but I bet I could fit in it.
But if there's a spider in there mid-flight travel,
you can
you're screwed.
fit her.
I got a bug. What, Zeke?
I was saying when Bethany gets up later, you can ask her if you can fit in her luggage when she flies down.
Yeah, as long as it's not a carry-on.
I wish she could come up now. Come in now.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Well, I'm glad you're going to have fun. I mean, it really sounds like it'd be amazing. I'm so jelly. I'm not even kidding. Like, yes.
We're going to do some investigation, and I'm going to record stuff. And if I catch anything, I'll definitely be sharing it on the show.
Awesome. Are you going to go live?
I might. It depends on if stuff starts happening. I'm going to keep in touch with Dustin and see if I start getting activity and stuff is going on. I may, if it's
You definitely need to go live.
Yeah. If it starts getting active with us, we will definitely go live. Again,
Hi, PW.
I am the skeptic, so I'm going into it as like, yeah, this place isn't really haunted. Prove me wrong. So I want them to prove me wrong. I want them to show me something.
There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all.
Allie Berry, all right. There we go.
We pulling out Allie in.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hold up. All right.
Extra screen. There we go.
There we go.
Allie.
Allie's in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
All right. CC Myers, PW. All the good people. Oh, I love you, PW.
All right, we're buffering and Allie's buffering.
Here you go.
Uh-oh. She faded.
Oh, we lost Allie. Hold up. Hold on. Add the stream. Oh, here we go.
Okay, hi everyone. Good to see you tonight. Oh my gosh.
Allie. Allie.
Awesome work. All the things that I've watched you do up here, Ezekiel or Zeke, whichever you prefer.
I'm handling.
Yeah, you don't have.
I'm handling.
Hey guys.
Guys,
Feedback.
I'm gonna come with you. Yeah, you got feedback, Allie.
Where's that coming? Was that Allie?
Yeah, you got. Yeah. Make sure the other thing is closed. Windows closed. Windows closed. As soon as we get her going, I'm going to set the phone down and leave you here by a marker.
Vickie, I miss you. It's so good to hear/see you.
She's way off in the distance, but she said, "Hi, Allie." Oh, someone's got.
Awesome.
Yeah, somebody's still echoing.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Do you have another window?
Check and make sure
Mother
your
of
other
pearls.
window's closed.
I don't have another window open. I'm just buffering like hardcore.
Okay. Because I'm only on the phone.
You're all right. Talk, Allie. Talk, Allie. I'm not echoing. Dustin, you're the only one echoing. Right now, I'm
Did you
echoing. Dustin, you're the only. Now I'm echoing.
I don't hear an echo from Zeke or from myself, but like only because
I
you said
muted
now
my
I'm echoing
mic.
twice.
And I heard Zeke echoing. He's gonna check.
Yeah, I'm echoing too.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Hey everyone.
We are trying to figure out where the echoing is from everyone. So please
Mute your mic, Allie and C.
I wonder if it's.
Okay.
Can
It's
you hear
not
me?
me. Yeah, it was her. We're not echoing, so it is her end. She got a window open, I think, because she don't realize. Allie. I don't know. Oh, but she's buffering.
She's
And then
clear.
she wants to.
I can see her.
No, talking. The echo's gone.
Yeah, the echo's gone.
Yeah, because she muted. So that's how we found. So double check are you on your computer or phone, Allie?
I'm on my computer. Is the echo back?
I don't hear it.
You don't have any other windows open?
I don't hear the echo anymore. When she was talking, I didn't hear it.
No, this is the only
think
window
she
that I
muted
have
again,
open.
though.
Yeah, there's the echo.
Okay, I'm on it.
Well,
Let me mute.
I wasn't intending on like speaking a whole lot. I was just gonna like share pictures that coincided with what Zeke was gonna be talking about tonight. Even though I always have tons to say when I watch, so I apologize for the echo. I don't know how to fix it.
So
And it's so good to see everyone in chat.
It's not open on YouTube anywhere. You just have the StreamYard up.
Yeah, I just have the StreamYard up.
Dude, that's so weird.
And see, I'm muted and it wasn't echoing that whole time. But now I don't hear an echo.
Was she Allie muted?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to stay muted. And I'm gonna put Zeke over in my spot. Allie, I'll move you up in Zeke's spot. I'm gonna go track down Vickie. Everyone in chat, enjoy the show, and I'm gonna go be the knight in shining armor for Sister Vickie.
Have fun. All right, everyone. Southern Discomfort is live. If you were on the live stream earlier, we have been having technical difficulties. Dustin is out there doing some investigation, and y'all know how that goes. A lot of times when there is presence and there's activity, it begins to mess with stuff. And so he's been having a time out there where there's normally not any issues. So he and Vickie were out there at the Cursed Cemetery doing a little investigation. So hopefully they will have some cool stuff to share with us. But tonight on Southern Discomfort, we are going to continue our study and our talk on demons. So as everybody is back, just sit in and get ready because we are going to have a full octane ride. Allie is with us also. You can see her up there in the corner. She's going to be popping in and sharing some stuff and showing some pictures and all kinds of other cool things. So we're glad to have Allie here. So y'all make her all feel loved and welcome. I'm part of the PPR family, so we're glad to have her. Before we get kicked off, just want to kind of recap everything that we talked about last week. But before we do that, just wait a few minutes, let anybody else get on chat who hasn't said hello or anything yet. We usually wait till about 40 past before we actually get things kicked off. So I want to give everybody a few minutes to get on here and get settled and say hello. And then we will start the discussion. Also tonight on the show, be sharing with you a couple covers of my upcoming books and stories that I think you will dig. So I'll be sharing that. I'm also reminding everybody, I will be going to New Orleans this weekend, staying in the La Pavilion Hotel, which is like one of the most haunted hotels in New Orleans. And the plan is, if stuff starts to happen, I will be doing an impromptu live stream if we start to catch anything or if things start communicating with us. So that could be Friday or Saturday night, just kind of, keep your eyes and ears open for it. And those of you who aren't busy, I know it's not planned, but feel free to jump on and join us for that. Also, Bethany's going to be joining us a little bit later, my better half, and we'll pick on her about the Winnebago whenever she gets on here, because that's always fun. But it's about that time, so let's just do a little bit of recap before we jump into some new stuff. Now, what we're doing right now is we are kind of traveling through the Old Testament, and we're looking at some key terms that usually aren't talked about. If you remember last week, if you haven't watched the show last week, watch that stream, go back and watch it. There's a lot of good information on there. I talk about why this is necessary. I talk about how the English translations of the Bible have muddied the waters on some things, and how there is some sloppy research and scholarship that goes on when people just stick with the English language, or when they don't look at the terms in their context. And that's a big thing too, is you can't just take a term out and say it means this. You have to look at what it meant and how it functions and how it operates in the language, especially when it comes to a language like Hebrew. because is so archaic, and you can have one term that can mean a myriad different things. It just depends on how it's used. We saw that last week with the word Rephium. That was one of the things we looked at. We saw that the Rephium, depending on the context, could be referring to a race of giants, or it could be referring to these shades, is what the word means, these shadowy entities that live in the underworld, which the Hebrews referred to as Sheol. So the main terms we looked at last week were Rephium. That was an important one. And we also looked at the word Elohim. And we talked about how Elohim is not just a name and a title for God, but it has a much broader meaning, and that pretty much anything that is spiritual in nature, whether it is God, an angel, a demon, or the spirit of a dead person, all of those things are Elohim. It's a place of residence term, just like saying, I am an American, right? And we look at what is an American. It can be anybody, any race, any gender, any religion. We're all Americans. And so that's kind of how the Elohim term operates. And then what we're getting into now is, what are some of the classifications of these Elohims, right? We looked at Rephium. They're a type of Elohim, a shadow type shade spirit that lives in the underworld. So without further ado, we're not going to go into every single term because there's just too many. We're going to look at the important ones that are really, really influential and detrimental for the study. So tonight we're going to start off with a term that the Hebrews used, that they hijacked from a Ugaritic myth language, and that is the god Mot. The Hebrew word for death is a Ugaritic god's name. It is Mot. And what's interesting when you look into the Ugaritic background and their gods, and again, I'm going to be looking at my phone because I have all my notes here. Mot is this god of the netherworld. So there's a link here as to why the Hebrews would use that term. Mot is the god of the underworld, and they take it, and all of these spirits live in this realm of the dead. The Rephium are there. We talked about the righteous. They have to go to this place, this holding place of Sheol to the Hebrews was not just a place for wicked, it was also for the righteous. And the righteous had the hope that one day God would bring them out. But in Sheol, you had the spirits of the wicked dead. You had the Rephium, some other things down there too. And so it was not a place that you wanted to stay at all. So what the Hebrews did is they took the word for the Canaanite god for death, they demythologized it. And all that means is they took that supernatural element out of it. They stripped it of the term meaning a god, and they applied it to their realm of the dead. So Sheol, Mot, these were all referring to the same places. And now we're going to look at what type of spirits are living in the underworld in the Hebrew context, and what they refer to them as. So we looked at Elohim, we looked at Rephium. The next word, these next two words are going to carry a lot of things with them because they are used pretty often in the Old Testament. And there's some misunderstanding behind these terms that we're going to look at. The first word we're going to look at is the word in English, it's translated spirits. The word in Hebrew is ob, or abat, or also obarim. And it literally means those who have passed over. Now, it's important to remember this word because it's going to come back to play when we look at our next word and how these terms actually connect. So some of the terminologies for these spirits, like we saw in the Hebrews naming place after a god, some of these names for spirits, they won't only take the names of gods, but they'll also take geographical locations and they'll kind of spiritualize them and use them to refer to entities. There were terms derived from Ov to talk about places. Oboth, Abarim, these are all places around the Transjordan River. So what you see what we talked about last week. There's this interconnecting with a place, with a spirit, and it's almost like the physical and the spiritual connect. That there was the Holy Land, there was the holy place where the promised land that God had his people to dwell. Same thing in the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden was supposed to be that sacred space where man could worship God, and outside in the wilderness was all of the evil, wicked spirits and wicked people. So the garden was meant to keep Adam and Eve in there in the fellowship with God. And then, of course, we know we'll get into this later, but you've got a chaos creature coming in and causes havoc, and that's lost. So you see the same thing happening here with Ob, or Obarim, or Obat, that it is a place of the dead. It's a spirit of the dead, but it's also a place in real life. Now, here's what's interesting about these two places. Obath and Abarim in the Transjordan, they were associated with ancient cults of the dead and ancestor worship. So you can see what's happening here. The Hebrews take this term, and there's this ancestor worship and this spirit worship going on in these places. So Obath, Abarim, they take that and they shorten it, and they use kind of this, just a root of the word Ob to start referring to spirits that have crossed over. So the Obarim are the spirits of the dead that have crossed over into Sheol, into the netherworld. There is something I want to read to you. If I can find it in my notes here. We talked about the Obarim. Now, you know what? I'm going to skip all that. It's just kind of reiterating what I just said. You don't need to hear all the detail. You just need to know that Obarim were derived from Obath and Abarim. They were hostile ancestor, wicked spirits that the Hebrews used and took that as their own word. In other places, these Obath and Abarim are also realm of the dead. This is not just in Hebrew, but you can see this in other ancient cultures as well. They all seem to have this concept, Ob, Obarim, Obath, Abarim. They all kind of start to see this as a place of spirits and a place where ancestor cults were being birthed in the ancient Near East. So the realm of the dead is filled with wicked human spirits, according to the Hebrews, righteous human spirits, and evil supernatural spirits. So an Ob or an Obarim in the Hebrew scripture is a spirit of the dead, which we would refer to commonly today as a ghost. So here is more proof. If y'all remember, we did some talk a while back about the misunderstanding of ghosts among Christians, especially evangelicals, that say ghosts do not exist. They're all demons, or there's no ghost in the Bible. The word Ob there in the Old Testament is pretty much the Hebrew word for ghost. the spirits that have passed over. So it is there. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, because this gets covered up in English translations. And it's right there in the Hebrew text, which is why it deserves mentioning. All these Hebrew scholars know about it, but what's happening is this information is not trickling down into the hands and minds of the average person. And so that's what I'm trying to do here, is take this stuff that is talked about to death in scholarly circles, and that all these people in these scholarly communities know and understand, but it's not getting into modern culture, especially in religious circles, because it just flies right in the face of the traditional understanding that has been erected in a lot of people's mind. And so this is just coming in like a wrecking ball and saying, here's your tradition. Here comes the Hebrew grammar and the Hebrew word wrecking ball right at your tradition, just to knock it into pieces. So that is oberim. The next word connected with spirits of the underworld or spirits of the human dead is the word oni. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Yes. My Hebrew's a little rusty. I haven't spoken it in a while. But a knowing one. So you have a Ob, a spirit, and then you have a oni, which is a knowing one. This particular word is found in one of the first instances I'm thinking of is Deuteronomy 12. And a number of quote-unquote abominable practices were forbidden to the Israelites. And one prohibition, I'm going to read it here out of my notes, is contracting or taking out or going to and getting the services of a soy a ov, there's our word ov, we yire oni. We see ov connected, spirit, with a knowing one. This literally translates one who inquires of a spirit or a knowing one. So we have to think, okay, we know what spirit is, but what does it mean in the context here in the Old Testament when they are referring to a knowing one? What are these things? The term Yedeoni, knowing one, this occurs. Now get this. It blew my mind when I started studying this and saw this. It occurs 11 times, and it's always, every single time, in connection with the word Ov. So Ov and knowing one go together. Spirit of the dead, spirit of those who cross over, and knowing one are always together when Yire Anane is mentioned. So the English translations, okay, y'all are all going to be familiar with this. Yero Odini is translated as medium in English language. That's not really what it means. Go figure. So when we translate this word medium, what we're doing in English is we are obscuring something that is very, very important in the meaning of this word. Several terms clearly have this being referred to as the spirit entities that are being channeled. Okay, the spirits that are being channeled, not to the human channeler. So Yere Odini is not referring to a medium. It's not talking about a medium. It's not talking about the human vessel. I need to look up and figure out how in the world this translation came about and got into the English language and was translated medium, because everything that I've read, none of the scholars have given the history. They just say this word is usually translated like this, and it's not right. So I would love to somehow find out how this creeped in to our language. Yes. Yes, tell me.
I just wanted to know if you could, if you know how I can make these pictures show, because I have these really cool pictures to show that like depict what you're talking about, but it's like not coming on the screen.
Dustin, where are you?
I know. Where are you, Dustin?
Help. Okay.
All right. I'll wait for Dustin to come back. Please continue.
Yeah, he may, their connection and stuff was so bad out there. Let me see.
I feel it. Mine's bad too, but probably not as bad as theirs. And I'm catching most of what you're saying, and I'm so thankful. So please continue.
Okay, good. Yeah, let me text him. All right. I'll let him know. We'll see if he gets my text and answers back.
Are you getting any echo from me now that I have headphones in?
Nope, none at all.
Oh, snap. Most excellent. Okay, thank you.
Whatever, I don't know. It's fickle. Just put the headphones in and it works. So yeah, the Yire Oni, the knowing ones. It's not the medium. And I want to read some passages in Leviticus to illustrate a point. Now, Leviticus gets a lot of hate from people outside the Christian community because of some of the outlandish things that it says. One day, we'll look at how to rightly interpret this, what it meant in the context, how or if it's even carried over into the New Testament. So just because I mentioned the book Leviticus, don't get all uppity and don't cringe because I'm mentioning the book of Leviticus. This is important for our studies. Listen to this. This is in Leviticus 19:31. Do not turn to the spirits of Ob, to the ones who have knowledge, a Yire Oni. Do not seek them out, and so make yourself unclean by them. I am Yahweh your God. And then in 26, it says, if a person turns to an Avot, there's our word again, O, to those who have knowledge, a Yire Oni, whoring after them, I will set my face against that person and will cut him off from among my people. It goes on to say, a man or a woman who has a spirit or an Ob of a knowing one, a Yire Ani, she'll be put to death, and it goes into the restrictions of messing with these Obs and these Yire Onanis. So the point here that I'm trying to make with these passages is that the Yire Onani and the Ob can at times be used of the human medium, right? Because it says a person who has a Ob or a Yire Onani, but that is not how it is always used. The majority of the time, a Yire Onani is not referring to a medium, and it should not be translated that way. And an Ob should not be translated as a medium or anything else. What these are, okay, and here is why. I'm just going to go ahead and say this since we're on the subject, and I know it's in the back of all your minds. This mediumship that is being condemned, an Ob and a Yire Onani, to the Hebrews were evil spirits. They weren't just broad terms for a ghost. All right, yes, they are ghosts. And it's kind of like what we talk about, right? You have ghosts, but then you have your good spirits, and then you have your negative entities, and then you have demons over here. Every time the Hebrews are talking about spirits of the dead, they're almost always talking about spirits of the evil, wicked. It would be what we would define as a negative spirit. And so the condemnation is not the channeling of the spirits, but it is what you are channeling. That is what the condemnation is in the passage. It's not the mediumship, but it is the fact that they would be channeling. He's saying, don't go after the evil spirits. Don't run after them. Don't listen to them. So the condemnation is not for mediums per se. The condemnation is what is being channeled. If an ob or a yiddo on a knee is channeled, then that's in the Old Testament what God does not approve of. He tells them, don't go seek after these evil spirits. Why do you got to go seek after them? I'm the Lord your God. I know everything. Get your knowledge from me. So that was the point of this. All right. I know Dustin. Hey, Dustin. I saw him come up. Dustin. I don't think he can hear me.
Ooh.
He shut off.
I wish I could see what they're seeing.
Yeah. So it looked like, Dustin, were y'all in the tunnel? I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know. Probably not. He's got bad connection. We'll see if he pops up again. I'm gonna see if I can, if I can catch him. Yeah, they're at that tunnel where some stuff has gone down in the past. There's another term I'm looking at. I think what we're going to do is kind of just do a cursory look at some of these things. Because, man, there's a lot. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to skip another term that refers to the dead. Basically, this term kind of goes with the Ob and the Yidde Oni that we've already looked at, and is a reference to dead human beings, their spirits. This word is metim. It comes from Mot that we already looked at, the god of the underworld for Ugaritic culture. So metim, the dead, the spirits of the dead, is just another term that you could to throw in there that kind of goes with Ob. Oh yeah, there we go. You'll see this painting here. Allie, tell us where this is from, where you got this and what we're looking at here. Allie, can you hear me? Unmute yourself. I think we're just having connection issues all over the place tonight. Allie? All right, we'll see if we get her back up and she can tell us about this picture. And I'm sorry for anybody in chat. I am not able to see the comments, but hopefully we'll get that worked out here in just a little bit. So the next word I want us to look at, it means hidden one. And it is the word havi or chebion. And these terms only occur 2 times in the Old Testament. Each term and meaning is hotly debated about what these two terms really mean. But both of these terms, and this is why I'm mentioning it, both of these terms are very important for the development of the underworld and a Satan figure or a devil figure that arose later after the Old Testament in Jewish theology. There's a passage in Isaiah 26. It says, "Come, my people, enter your chambers and shut your doors behind you. Hide yourselves, Habib, for a little while until the fury has passed by." So on the basis, oh, Allie, you're back.
Am I on mute?
No,
Okay, no, I'm not on mute. Well, I had just gotten out of the shower, so I went to blow dry my hair since nothing was shaking. I missed it. I didn't see. I'm so glad that Sheol's up right now, even though it's behind. I don't know. So Dustin's gone. We'll just keep this one on for now. I have some pretty cool pictures of spirits, but we'll get there when we get there, right?
Yes.
All right. Cool.
So this is Sheol.
Yeah.
Where did you, do you know who painted this? Where you got it?
I cannot remember the name of this painter. And
This is pretty cool.
if I look it up, it'll take the picture down.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Now
But I did do research on on a lot of these pictures I'm going to show you, so I could actually tell you who did this artwork, right?
Awesome.
But yeah, not that I memorized it.
So there's Sheol. And Hallie, were you able, and I forgot to do this, maybe you did it and you can take up for me slacking. I mentioned last week about the three-tiered universe in the ancient Semitic culture, how you had like the flat earth, and then above it you had the heavens, heaven of heavens, and then below it you had Sheol.
Yes.
Yeah. So like
I have a lot of pictures of that.
Oh, good.
From actually like all different well, I mean, it wasn't until basically like the mid 1400s that we started to go to like a globe earth paradigm. Mm-hmm. And so from all of the cultures before then, they all have pictures that depict that in their own different ways. I even have a chart that shows like 12 different pictures of that from different places. It's so juicy. Yes.
And it's crazy that this was the mindset across the whole ancient world almost. Mm-hmm. In every culture, they believed in this three-tiered universe.
I think what's even crazier is that we don't feel that way now, that like we think that we're all of a sudden like better than everything that came before. I mean, and I'm not trying to say that there hasn't been, things that we've come across these days that have, raised us above in some areas and whatnot. But like, I don't know, I feel like we're always looking down our nose at those who came before us, but like they're the shoulders that we're standing on. And like, there's a lot to learn from that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And these, especially, and this is what I've realized from studying the ancient languages and the thoughts and ideas that are being expressed, even though it's in, especially Hebrew, it's more archaic. The Greek is a little more nuanced, but the people, and even in the language, they were still brilliant, and that's what we forget. They were still people just like us. Yeah, they didn't have the modern technology, but they weren't stupid.
Yeah, and you know what, too? A lot of this modern technology, like, we don't know how any of that stuff works. We just trust it. These people, they figured out how to do it by actually speaking to, like, the spirits of plants and like really understanding what numbers are, and like just insane. I mean, like necessity is the mother of invention, and these people freaking did it, dude. They freaking did it. So it's amazing.
Yep, numerology was huge in ancient cultures. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So cool, everything that you're saying. I thank you.
Thank you. The Habib, these figures are described as possessing horns and tails. So that kind of sounds a little familiar of our little Satan figure that we've developed in our culture, or that's developed through the years. And these terms are kind of what the Hebrews eventually drew upon to create the Satan figure that becomes prominent in the intertestamental period, which was those hundreds of years between the Old Testament and the coming of Christ. So that's why I wanted to mention these. And there's text where these words are misinterpreted, and when you put them as a deity into the context, it's just crazy. Let me read this to you. These are two words that are in this text in the Old Testament prophetic book of Habakkuk. And it says, God came from Timon, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Selah. His splendor covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. His brightness was like the light. The rays, the karnayim, flashed from his hand, and there he veiled the chebion by his power. Before him went pestilence, and plague followed at his heels. This word translated rays in the English language, karnayim, it means horns everywhere else. Literally, horns in terms of parts of an animal head. Or it can be figuratively used as the edges of an object. There's lots of scholars who believe that it should be rendered horns because of that other word that we have, the chebion, which was the name of a Canaanite deity. Imagine that. We talked about the Hebrews taking the gods of the surrounding cultures and demythologizing them and taking the power out of them and saying, no, these aren't gods. Yahweh's the one true God. These things are just these. So here is how one scholar says that we should translate it. And brilliant shall be as the light. He has horns from his hand, and there is the chebion. So this scholar is translating these words as they should be translated in the normal context. So what we see here is this idea of Yahweh has the power, and just like Yahweh has power over death, over Mot, he also has power over the Hibayim. And again, it's taking these words, showing you things that English translations have glossed over, but have a spiritual idea behind them. And these two terms that we mentioned, they would eventually be influential in Jewish culture for them developing this Satan or devil figure. What time we got? Oh, look at that. Looks like Refium shades. What do we have here, Allie? Unmute yourself.
I figured out how to put a little thing in there. This is just a classic picture of this is just actually something I found that was a it's like a background picture for a computer. I couldn't find anybody who did it, but I was just like, this is a really good depiction of spirits, and like a lot of them.
Yeah. And that's the first thing that came to mind is the Refium that we talked about, these shades, these shadow like figures. I know these are white, but you know, if you think those is, look at them as shadow and black, that's kind of the idea behind the Refium.
That's interesting. When you were talking before about the Oni, is it ONI?
Let me see the transliteration of how to spell that.
Because I think you're speaking Hebrew words, but I've heard of the Oni demons from like Asian places, like really creepy Oni demons like that.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. ONI.
Wow, okay, so it's the same. Oh my gosh, juicy. I did not know that. I've seen lots of cool, like, creepy depictions of Oni demons before. And like, I've heard so many, like, really disturbing tales about people that have been, you know, possessed by Onis or had Onis that, like, were even, like, almost like they were put upon someone like a curse. Like, someone would get you, like a, I've heard Oni spirits being attached to alcohol too. Anyways, just things I've heard.
Yep, but that is correct. The Yide Oni, ONI, is how you would transliterate that. So let me tell you what we've got coming up next. And what we're going to get into now is the Hebrews associated, like we talked about before, spirits with certain territories. So now we're going to kind of move away from spirits in the realm of the dead, and we're going to look at spirits that are actually operating in the land of the living. So we're moving out of Sheol into the realm of the living, and we talked about how the Hebrews had the sacred space, and then everything outside of that was the wilderness. And the wilderness was a place where all of the demons were just haunting every place. We're going to get into looking at Azazel. I know y'all are all familiar with Azazel. We're going to be talking about Azazel. We're going to be talking about Lilith. Lilith is going to come into this conversation as well in the upcoming week. But before we jump into Azazel and Lilith, there are just a couple more terms that I want to talk about that are going to set us up for next week when we get into Azazel and Lilith.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah, buddy.
I figured out your echo issue because she has two windows open because of the picture that she's showing you. She needs to pause or mute. Make sure they're muted or pause. Stop them.
Okay. Thank you, buddy.
Make sure they're muted or pause. Stop them.
Okay. Thank you, buddy.
So.
Are you guys in the chat hearing an echo anymore? And ladies, all.
Okay. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Zeke wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
I hear Dustin echo, and I can hear myself echo.
I hear no echoes in my cute little earbuds.
Odd. Try muting real quick, Allie.
You got it.
Check 1, 2. Yeah, no echo. So it's from that being open.
I muted myself too. So.
Well, I'll keep myself mostly on mute.
Yeah, look, if you have anything to add, just unmute and pop in and say, "Hey, Zeke." Say, all right. Okay, so before we get into Azazel and Lilith next week, which to say that I'm excited about talking about Azazel and Lilith is an understatement. I actually have a whole fictional book that I wrote on Lilith, and I am actively seeking a publisher for it. But the book combines the Hebrew mythology behind Lilith, also some stuff from her taken from witchcraft and other places. And then I'll also kind of spin my own little myth, add some Zeke-ness in there to it. Because Lilith for me is just a fascinating study. And Azazel. Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to real quick say, have you ever looked into publishing your own book through Amazon?
Well, yeah, a lot of the indie publishers publish through Amazon.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I did a lot of research on it, and it seems like too easy. But yeah, just throwing it out there, because then you can have your own copyright and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But anyways, continue.
Good eye, Allie. So yeah, and then Azazel, we're going to look at some things again that have been mistranslated in the Old Testament to kind of take this spiritual entity aspect out of what Azazel really is. If y'all want to hear about Azazel also, we're going to be getting into him as well when I start my stuff on Sundays, when I'm actually going to be preaching and teaching through the book of Enoch. And those of you who are familiar with Enoch know how big of a role Azazel plays in the book of Enoch. So you're going to be hearing about Azazel here, and you're going to be hearing about Azazel when we start going through the book of Enoch. But to understand what Azazel and Lilith are, we got to understand some other terms. And these are going to kind of be the last two terms we look at tonight. We're going to look at the word Shedim. We would transliterate that Shedim, the Shedim. And these are territorial spirits. Now, where do we find territorial spirits at in the Bible? In Deuteronomy 32:8, we see the Elohim, the sons of God, which we'll get into these entities more as our study develops and we start looking at other supernatural beings. But just for our purposes right now, the sons of God, the B'nai Elohim that are mentioned in Genesis 6 are also mentioned in Deuteronomy 32. And these B'nai Elohims, they were the ruling spirits over nations. In Deuteronomy 32, this pantheon or divine council of the Old Testament, they rebelled, they were judged. We're going to get into all those verses when we're on them, but it's just too much to go over right now for our time. But the gist of it is, these were the ruling authorities. These were the highest ranking spiritual beings that Yahweh created, the B'nai Elohim, which is why they were called the sons of God. That was their designated title. Yes, they are Elohim, but what makes them special and different from all the angels is they were called sons of the Elohim. They were his ruling divine council. And what happened is these Elohims were supposed to rule the nations and rule them justly. Well, they don't. What do? They go down according to Genesis 6. They have relations with the daughters of men, and they don't lose their status as sons of God. Something we mentioned last week. It's their relation with God himself that changed. They were no longer these righteous, holy entities, but now they were dark entities because of their rebellion. There's an interesting verse in Deuteronomy 32. Those of you who aren't familiar with Deuteronomy, it is basically the fifth book of the Old Testament, and it's just kind of like a retelling of the law. And the author of Deuteronomy says, they, referring to the Israelites, sacrificed to the Shedim. Now, the English translations translate the word Shedim as demons, which is a terrible translation. The Israelites sacrificed to demons, the English translation says, but it's the Shedim that were no gods. So the Israelites sacrificed to Shedim that were no Elohah. It's a little different than Elohim, but it still means the same thing. To gods, to Elohims, they had never known. So you have the Israelites, they are sacrificing to Shedims, who are no gods. So he's saying the Shedim, they are not gods. They are not Elohah, but then he refers to them as Elohim, to gods they had never known. So there's something going on here. So we've got to look at what is the author of Deuteronomy saying here. Sadim, Elohah, and Elohim are all used here in connection with the Israelites sacrificing to something. The sons of God, they were allotted all the nations to rule over them. And they were considered the Elohim. And this passage tells us that these Sadims are the Elohim. So the Elohim, the sons of God, are also referred to as a Sadim. Now, that's why it's important for us to know, what does this word Sadim mean? Because it's referring back to, it's connected to the highest ranking beings that God created. So it's important that we listen up here. So these two terms go together. They are connected. There's a whole other culture, like I've talked about Ugaritic, but there's a whole other culture that the Hebrew owes a lot of their terms to, and that's Akkadian. Akkadian. Not Akkadian like French, like me down here in Louisiana, Akkadian French. This is Akkadian Semitic. Akkadian. If you've never done any study on the Akkadian culture and you are a history or a religion buff, then you need to jump on studying the Akkadian culture. Because a lot of these terms, the Sadim, guess where it comes from? It's a nuanced word from an Akkadian word, Sadum, Sadim, Sadum, and the Sadum were territorial spirits. Imagine that. So the Hebrew is pretty much hijacking the word. Yes, Allie, go ahead.
How do you spell that? The Sadim.
Okay. The Sadum, Sedum, or it would just be Sadum for the plural. I mean, for the singular.
All right.
That's
and then
the
also, thank you. I wanted to also say that this picture is by Nestor Avalos, and it's entitled "Murder of the Elohim."
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, that's cool. So what you have here is one of the rebellious sons of God. I like that. Very cool, Allie. Thank you for putting that up there. Thank you. So yes, the Akkadian word Sedu, Sedu, plural with the M. The Hebrew word is Sedim, Sedim. So they're only different by one in our translation, English word, one letter. So the Sedu or the Sedum in Akkadian were perceived as territorial spirits. So let's go back and translate this verse in Deuteronomy the way it should be translated. They, the Israelites, sacrificed to territorial spirits who were no gods, but rather to gods, to Elohim they had never known. So let's get back to the sons of God thing and why territorial spirits are important. Yahweh ruled over the nation of Israel. They were his people. There were no spirits assigned to Israel because Yahweh was their ruler. The territorial spirits were for the other nations. Now, the intent of Yahweh was to have these sons of God rule over these nations, but God was going to have his own special possession, not to mean that these other nations weren't going to be opened up to Yahweh, because when we get to the New Testament, that's what we see in the coming of Christ and his death and resurrection. Salvation is open to all nations, All the territorial spirits have been disarmed. But here in the Old Testament, what's going on is you have Yahweh over Israel, and he had these other territorial spirits that were supposed to govern the other nations. And instead, they rebel, and these territorial spirits set themselves up as gods. So here's the other thing. For so long, until all of this stuff started coming out after the Dead Sea Scrolls, and scholars were able to start connecting the Hebrew text to some older versions. And then once we begin to find all of these documents from all the other Semitic cultures, that's when things started to come into a new light for scholars. And so the Elohim, for so long, scholars, especially during when the whole naturalism that swept this country back in the late 1800s and early 20th century, they demythologized all this and said, the gods of the other nation, they weren't real. They weren't real gods. They were all made up, all make-believe. Yahweh is the only God in existence. Well, a closer inspection of the text and what they believed is that Yahweh wasn't the only God. He was the chief God. He was the God, the ruler, the supreme one. But there were all these other entities. And so according to the Hebrew mindset, what happened is when these territorial spirits rebelled, they were still over these nations, but they set themselves up as the gods of these nations in the Hebrew mind. So there were other gods. That's why this idolatry thing was so serious in the Old Testament, because they actually were worshiping other gods, other Elohims, other territorial spirits, when they were supposed to be worshiping Yahweh. So we have the Siddim, the territorial spirits. Another very similar word used to talk about these sons of God, these territorial spirits, is the word Sarim. So you have Siddim and Sarim, which is Sarim, transliterated into English. The Sarim were called princes. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. If you want to look at how this word is used as a prince, the English translations did get this right in the book of Daniel, the Old Testament prophetic book of Daniel. You see, we have an instance in Daniel 8 through 12. We have this whole cosmic scene going on where Daniel is praying. These visions break through. Michael the archangel comes. He is like the prince over Israel. He's their guardian. He was delayed because he got in a scrap with the prince of Persia. So Michael, this should show you how powerful these sons of gods are. Michael is the chief archangel, and he got in a squabble with the prince of Persia, the son of God, the B'nai Elohim, over them. And it took him a while to be able to get to Daniel to deliver him the message. There's a whole sermon of spiritual warfare in that I am just going to not run on a tangent, but there's a lot of good stuff there. But we'll save that for another time. Gabriel is mentioned also in this narrative. He's not in the same caliber as Michael. Gabriel was more of a messenger angel. But Michael is referred to as a prince, a Sar, S-A-R. But he's not the only angelic prince indicated in Daniel 10. We have this prince of Persia. And what you'll also see, another word in Daniel, is the sons of God are referred to the watchers. Enoch. When we get into Enoch, you're going to hear that term a lot, the watchers. That's how most people in modern culture know the sons of God as the watchers. Yes. Go ahead, Allie.
All right, I wanted to give a little rundown on this picture. This is Pazuzu, and it's at the Louvre or the Louvre, and it is a demon god, Pazuzu, and it's an Akkadian Sumerian evil spirit. And,
Exorcist fans, Exorcist. That's from the Exorcist.
Yeah, and this is it's an actual figurine that was from that time. Wow.
Anybody out there want to give me a Pazuzu doll? You can send it. I'll send you my address. You can send it to me. Exorcist is my all-time favorite horror movie.
I almost watched that this week. Weird, not so weird. Things are cyclical.
It's my comfort horror movie. So, yeah, there you have it. That would be how the Akkadians, that would be, according to the Hebrews and the way that they would view that, is that would be their prince. That would be one of their ruling deities, one of their Elohims, one of their gods. So, but yeah, Daniel talks about the Watchers. So the Watchers, the prince, these ruling territorial spirits, sons of God, they're all kind of the same thing. Now, the term prince, what bothers me and where I'm stuck at with this term, I have to do more study, is Michael was not considered one of the sons of God. So I'm really interested in why he would be referred to as a prince when he's referred to as an angel. However, in my study on this, I haven't kind of drawn my line in the sand about this. But as I've been studying this idea of prince and with Michael the archangel, what I'm starting to piece together is, it seems like, and I could be wrong, so I'm not there. This isn't a final statement for me about what I believe on this. It's just me processing it. What it looks like to me is that, according to the Hebrews, Michael could have been one of the sons of God. Like, he's not an angel in the term that we think of angels. So if Michael was one of the sons of God, that he was one of the ones that did not rebel, because there's some that rebelled and there's some that didn't. And that's what I think maybe is being revealed to us in Daniel, that Michael, because he refers to Michael as your prince to Daniel. So the prince over Israel that was helping Yahweh and being his deliverer to Daniel. So could it be that Michael started out in Hebrew culture as a son of God, and then when they started to later on in the intertestamental period, and especially in the New Testament, you'll see the New Testament authors use the word angel as just a catch-all term for every good supernatural being. So Michael, the archangel, the chief angel, right? There's a reason he's called the chief angel. He rules over all of them. And him being a chief, a ruler, a prince, drawing off the Old Testament, it's very well possible that Michael is one of the sons of God, which is why he is called a chief angel, why he is so strong, why he's the one going to fight this territorial prince, this B'nai Elohim, this watcher in Persia. That's just Zeke. I could be totally wrong, but it's something I'm piecing together and studying and trying to find out if there's other scholars who have made this connection. I'll keep you updated on that. But that is it for tonight. We're going to stop there because I'm going to save Azazel and Lilith for next week. So tonight, just kind of recap what we did. But first, let's let Allie tell us about this picture she put up.
This one, I couldn't find an artist on it. This is just more Pazuzu. And there is just there is so much Pazuzu art out there. This was something off of Pinterest, and some crazy ones that I couldn't even share. They were so jacked up. But this one's close. Anyways. Hey, thank you so much, Zeke, and everybody in the chat. Let's let you close it up. This has been fabulous. I really love being here. And man, thank you, PPR. And I hope they're having a great time out there. Dang.
Yeah, I'm hoping he would get back on to update us.
Me too.
But yeah, thank you, Allie, for joining and sharing these pictures and stuff. Thank everybody who has been in on the chat. I know we're making these shows a little shorter than normal than what we usually do. And it's because I'm throwing a lot of information at you. I know that. And so we're keeping this shorter because it is so in depth. I don't want your brains to explode or you to get too exhausted. So what we did tonight, we went back and we were still in the place of the dead. And we were talking about the spirits of the dead. We talked about the Ob, the Yadi Ani, and how these spirits were connected. They were referring to wicked spirits in Sheol that shouldn't be messed with. And we looked at how the mediumship that is condemned in the Old Testament is actually communicating with and trying to draw these evil spirits out and seek knowledge from them. That's why the Yadi Oni are called knowing ones. They have this preternatural knowledge. They can imitate ghost as well. You hear of familiar spirits in the Old Testament. This is kind of the same thing. These spirits that imitate, they hide behind a cloak of goodness. They want you to think that there's something that they're not. And then when they get close, that's when they do their harm and destruction. And so we were there in Sheol, and then we moved out of Sheol into the land of the living and looked at these territorial spirits, which the sons of God were. And we looked at the book of Daniel just now. So next week, we're going to continue with this concept of territorial spirits and look at Azazel and Lilith and some other things. What you got, Dustin? Dogs. Any update from out there tonight, Dustin?
No, she's on her way home, and I'm home now, and I came home to a puppy that ate a cord off of my electric chair. Yeah, and half of the cord's missing, so now I gotta keep an eye on his poopy and everything and make sure he poopies it out.
Oh, somebody gonna have a stomach ache tonight, man.
Yeah, well, I just gave him some butter bread to help whatever's in there kind of stick and cling into it, and the butter will help give him some extra poopiness.
Yeah. Dustin, are you able to access any of the comments?
Yeah, here, I'll do it for you real quick.
I know people probably asked stuff and I couldn't see it, and I don't want anybody to feel ignored.
I will start from the bottom and work my way up.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Yes, Paranormal Witch. Lilith is going to be cool. I can't wait for it either. Our actual stories. All right, that's Bethany. Okay. Lots of conversation happening. Zeke Sensei. Thanks, Myers. PW man in the chat. Thank you, PW. Thank you, Christina. I'm going to make sure I say hey to everybody that was in there.
Sorry, Beth, I couldn't get you up. I am so sorry.
Yeah, we've had so many technical issues tonight. Just see if a
lot of people were interacting with Beth, and I think that's great too.
Good. Just I don't want to miss if anybody specifically asked me or Allie a question. Just kind of look for that.
Okay.
I know they were having a good old time chatting it up in there. I chat everybody. I'm seeing some of it now.
And Christina told you so interesting.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
Sorry, I'm replying a lot like a chatter. Don't be sorry, PW. You helped Zeke a lot tonight for me,
Yeah,
and
you
I'm
did.
grateful. I am so grateful.
All of y'all in chat that keep it going and talking to everybody. Thank y'all. Thank you, PW. Thank you, Bethany.
It looks like PW had you covered on all the questions people were asking, so that way you could just focus on what you were talking about.
Thank you,
So,
PW. Thank you very much. Myers. Talking about me explaining it better than the research does?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what he says.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you, PW.
And that's as high up as I can go right here. So,
Yeah, I know you and Myers are obsessed with this topic. So yeah, that's kind of all I got as far as teaching wise tonight. Just going to run over a couple things, kind of share with you some upcoming things that I have taught you about New Orleans. We'll still update everybody on Octagon Hall when we get that information. I got some books, new stories coming out in June. So, Dustin, are we able to?
yeah, I'm on it right now.
Pull those up, buddy.
I'm on it right now.
You are the man. There is Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer Volume 2. This is going to be dropping first on Godless on June 7th. Next week, I'll have the link available. It won't be ready to order yet, but the link is there. You can go look at it, read the description and everything like that. So that's Volume 2. Volume 1 is still on Godless, still on sale for 99 cents, but it will be going back to its normal price a few days after Volume 2 drops. When Volume 2 drops, it will be on sale for $1.99 until the paperback issue hits weeks later. So Johnny Walker Ranger Volume 2, June 7th. If you like offensive humor, if you like over-the-top blood and guts, if you like Ash Williams, Evil Dead, that type of horror comedy, then Johnny is going to be what you want to read. Now, if you're not a fan of horror comedy and you like something more serious, I have something for you. This is Southern Discomfort issue 4. I freaking love the cover of it. Drew Steppick from Godless makes these covers for me, and he does fantastic. Lisa Vasquez does my Johnny covers, and she does a fantastic job for them. So I got good people, great talented artists working with me. Y'all can see that by the covers. Now, Tetramet Rising, this takes place in the Theodosia universe. Y'all have heard me talk about Theo, the Dreadful Death series. However, this one is more modern. It takes place in 1993. It is a story about a detective in Baton Rouge whose son was killed, and his son and friends were killed in cult murders here off of Frenchtown Road. Remember, we did the investigation at Frenchtown Road. My Tetramet stuff is based off the urban legends of Frenchtown Road. So this Tetramet story is based off of Frenchtown Road. So Theo is not really in this one. She's talked about. This one specifically centers around the Tetramet and the cult in this particular setting. So you want to get a hold of that one. It's only going to be 50 cents when it drops on June 7th. So both of those will be coming out June 7th. All the other Southern Discomfort issues are still up there on Godless. They're all still 50 cents. So I try to just make it really cheap and accessible for people. I know
that's a good book too. I recommend that one.
That one is a good, especially if you are a paranormal horror fan and like scary ghost stories and ghost stories with a twist and that get really dark really fast, that's one that you want to go after is the door. Yeah, Dustin, I was telling him too. I might live stream when we go. But yeah, Allie, did you have something to say? Did you want to say anything, Allie?
I do have a question. I wondered if you could give me your email again, por favor.
Yes. So this is for anybody. If y'all want to email me with questions or anything, or just to say, oh, hey, Zeke, we love your show, or oh, hey, Zeke, you're such a fantastic writer. That goes a long way.
I love it.
So my email address is my name. It's Zekiel Kincade. It's up there on the screen. It's zekielkincade@gmail.com. So real
Awesome.
simple.
I thank you.
You're very welcome.
And then I wondered too, did everyone in the chat, people that were enjoying the show, did you guys like having pictures on the screen while we talked about this stuff?
I know my vote.
A consensus. It was fun to look up stuff as I learned what you were talking about too. I just I enjoyed it, and I thank you so much, Zeke, and thank you so much, Dustin and Vickie. If you're listening on the way home, I love you.
Yeah, and Lashana was watching. She just couldn't get her internet to work either, and Tanya, Yo Baby, sends everyone her love too.
Yeah, we miss you, Lashana. We miss you, Yo Baby. Miss you, Vickie.
And make sure that you all stick around after the show for at least 3 minutes, because after every show, whether it's from Zeke or myself or one of the ladies, we started doing a very inspirational video. Everyone loves it, and it's a weekly reminder for you all to not give up and to keep going. So focus on the words, and that'll be played whenever Zeke and them cue it up.
All right. So here we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Allie, do you have anything else for us?
Just a big fat thank you. I'm all sign off. I love you guys, and I'll be talking to you in some emails, and I really appreciate everyone in the chat too. You guys are so cool. I thank you, everyone. I'll see you soon. Mwah.
Thank you, Allie. Ditto to that. Thank you all again for tuning in to another episode of Southern Discomfort. Hope you learned something tonight, and hope you will join us again next week as we jump into looking at Azazel and Lilith. So y'all stick around and watch this video that Dustin made and be inspired.
And again, I am so sorry, Beth, that tonight didn't work out the way that we were all hoping it would. And here we go. Cue it up. It's called Never Give Up.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? So I break these walls and hold my head up high, and I set my ground until the day I die. As the rain falls down, there's no more tears to cry, tears to cry. So I break these walls and hold my head up high. No, I'm not giving in. No, I'm not giving in. Give it. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? So I